guiding angels to watch over us, protect us as we slumbered on last night. Because on today, you've allowed us to wake up with new mercy and new strength on today. We ask you to give us the power and the courage to keep on what you have set in our path. Thank you for those who are definitely coming. Give us the great information that we need. We ask you to anoint them. Give us through these airways. We thank you. We give you praise. We give you glory in Jesus' name. We pray. Amen. All right, Dan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning, Bishop.
Good. On the air.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Bishop. And good morning, everyone. And every day we thrive is a great day to be alive. And welcome to WGPL 1350 Joy AM listeners. And the Seven Cities Forum of Hampton Road presents Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And good morning, host.
Good morning,
Leah.
James.
Good morning. Good morning.
Colonel.
How you doing?
Good morning, everybody.
We made it another month. We're in May Day.
Amen.
May Day. Yeah.
So glad to have also the Facebook listeners, Facebook watchers in tune with us today. And as we have our special guest, Elvira Johnson-Williams and Bracey Parr, and they are Civic League presidents. One is president, Elvira is president of the Wilson Ward Gosport Civic League, and Bracey is president of the Cradock Civic League. And the reason, and we're going to talk about the importance of all civic leagues, but the reason I had these two on here because of the significance of the two neighborhoods, Cradock and historic Truxton, which were formed for the same reason to house employees of the Norfolk Naval Shipyard. And during that time, of course, our communities were divided racially. So Cradock was for whites, and North Truxton was for blacks. But now both neighborhoods are very diverse, culturally, and we're glad to see that. But have these two presidents on today to talk about their civic leagues, and we will have a discussion also about all the civic leagues in the city of Portsmouth and the importance and their significance to the success of the city of Portsmouth. So good morning, presidents.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Glad
Thank you
to
for
have
having
both of
us.
you.
Thank
Glad
you for
to have
getting
you
up and
both.
joining us this
Thank you.
morning. And we'll start with you, Elvira, and just give a little brief, well, I don't want to say history because that could be all day. Just give us a little brief. Well, tell us how you got started with the Civic League and, just tell us how you got started with the Civic League. We'll start there.
Okay. I was working and I had started coming to the Civic League when we was in the process of closing down the Ford plant. And I came to James and let him know that once things were done that way, I would come back and be a help to him. Little did I know that he was going through what he was going through. And he asked me to step in and help him out a little bit more than I wanted to, per se. But I came on in anyway because in my heart, I felt like if we didn't have someone step up, and I called myself young and energetic at the time, step up and the Civic League would have just died. And I just did not want that to happen.
Right.
So I stayed, and since I've been there as the president, thank God for the support that I've received from the neighborhood, from the city, from everybody. I think I've been in office now. I've been trying to get voted out for the last 10 years of the 11 that I've served, and they won't vote me out. I'm trying hard. But working as the president of the Civic League, it gives me the opportunity to meet people all throughout the city. And I love my city, and I love what the city can do for us. And one thing I learned, if I have learned nothing else, working Civic League got the support of the city behind them. And I got to say, honestly, there has not been a time that I have gone to ask for help that they haven't helped me. So I'm gonna stop it right there because I can talk all day long about the Civic League. And I know you
Okay, Elvira.
Okay, Bracey, how did you get started with the Civic League and work your way into the presidency role?
I think kind of similar to Elvira, I joined about 2.5 years ago when I moved here, and all of the board was trying to get voted off as much as they could. So the president, he said, let's go grab lunch. We got lunch at Pollard's, and he said, would you like to be the next president? I said, well, if they'll vote me in, sure. And he's like, I'm sure you'll be voted in if there's no competition. But he wanted some new, fresh energy in the Civic League. And with our new board that came in, I think we've got a really strong executive committee. And then we've seen our membership just double. We're hoping to triple, if not quadruple it this year and get up to 100 members. And like Elvira said, it's great to have the city behind us, and they've been really helpful, but it's important for them to see too that we're engaged, that we care about our own, front porch, right? We're going to keep a lookout for our own neighbors, and, lobby the city to do what they need to do to meet residents' needs.
Mhm. I like that.
Okay, host.
Yeah. Yeah, Bracey, I'll start off this morning. And actually, I got to thank both of y'all, both of our guests, for what you're doing for the city and for your communities, because I believe that one, as presidents and as officers of civic leagues, you are actually at you're the foot soldiers of the community. That's where everything starts, and representing your communities, because without y'all, then nothing gets done. So I'll start off with Bracey. I was through, I rode through Cradock over the weekend, and it brought back memories, because when I was living in Bonneville Apartments, I was going to Alpha J Map, and back in the day, that was before your time. And it brought back memories from when we had to go through, was that Greenwood Drive, and walk all the way up there. It was a couple-mile walk or whatever. But I was noticing the apartments up there. What's that development coming up?
Across the street on George Washington, you mean?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be 172 single-family homes. Now, a year ago, they said that they would start around 230 to 250, but with COVID, I mean, we might see some $300,000 houses going up across the street, and we're excited because it's going to expand the tax base for Portsmouth. There's going to be new residents there, supporting businesses along George Washington. So we're excited, and we've worked together with the developer. That's why they picked the name Afton Green. They went with the colors of Cradock, the maroon. So we've had a good dialogue with the developer and the city, and we're happy to welcome them.
How large are houses?
I think it's going to be 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, I think. Yeah, everybody's kind of become an amateur real estate agent of late. I'm on Zillow every time I go through a different neighborhood.
Yeah. Interesting.
Both of you have been doing some amazing things here lately. You had with the cleanup of the community, and there are a lot of activities going on in each of the communities. Why don't you share with us some of the recent things that you've been doing within your communities? I guess we'll start with Bracey.
Sure. So we just had the Earth Day cleanup. We did that in conjunction with Paradise Creek Nature Park, as well as the Mission Continues, which is a veteran organization. And they got a couple of organizations like Starbucks, and the Mission continues to come out. And we really just did a neighborhood-wide cleanup. We did a trash pickup along Victory Boulevard. And the month before, we did a community garden kickoff. We worked with a gentleman called Jimmy Hendricks, who's from Cavalier Manor. He runs our community garden here, which is great for the kids to come participate in, older adults to come out and just sort of tool around in the square. And besides that, and on the political arm, if you will, of the Civic League, we've been working really hard with the city about the situation with our skate park and the fire station and the possible relocation of the same. And that's sort of been the focus of our Civic League for this past half a year, and then also trying to advocate for better control of crime and ways to bring crime down in the neighborhood. And I would say, you know, those 4 things have been really the biggest part of our agenda.
Miss Elvira?
Oh, well, we've been out here working, cleaning up, like he said, we did the National Cleanup Day, and we do our own little cleanups. A lot of times without broadcasting, just to keep it clean. We've been blessed to have this little park out here on Frederick and Bagley Street. And we keep that entryway clean as well. And the park granted us that little piece of land. So we're in the process of another fundraiser so that we can continue doing what we've been doing, giving out scholarships to graduating seniors in the 3 high schools in the Portsmouth area. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it last year simply because of COVID, but we're up and running again this year. I'm pushing a little bit harder this year because I feel like the need is there to let kids know that we love them as well. And I'm trying to push harder to get children more involved with the Civic League. It is my dream to the children see us out there. I call us old heads. See us old heads out here trying to clean up. And they want to go, what are you doing? I say, we're trying to clean up where we live. And so when they get out there and see what we're doing, sometimes they do help us clean up our neighborhoods. As far as the crime rate is going on, we have been pushing to get folks to just leave your porch light on. That'll help deter the children of well, I'm gonna say children, because it's children that's out here that's bored, that's supposed to be in school and are not, simply because of COVID. And we're just trying to get them involved in something positive. And if we can keep them focused, like up here at Key Road, for instance, I ride by and I see the kids out there playing basketball or whatever. What makes my heart happy is when they finish, they clean up. They take off everything with them when they go. And these are the kids. Mm-hmm. These are the kids. They finish their virtual school or whatever. We want to be able to do what we were able to do a couple of years ago and send the children to summer camp. We have children in the area that's never, ever been outside of their neighborhood. And that hurt my heart, but it surprised me all at the same time. Mm-hmm. When I say we are a working Civic League, I think James can help me there and let everybody know. I do push and I do be pushy, but I get it done. We get it done. Now I say but it's a collective thing. We do it. It's not done unless we do it. I have to agree with Bracey. If you don't get this community involved, your voice is going to fall on deaf ears. So you need to have full community involvement. I push hard. My neighbors get so tired of me saying, you join the Civic League, you know, I'm Elvira, you need to come on out here and help us. It's just something to do to let people know that we truly love our city. And so the city needs to let everybody see how much they love us back. And they do when it comes to this particular Civic League. I used to pair with Cradock. I thought it was so ironic that Cradock and Wilson Ward had the same colors, burgundy and gold. And I thought it was so ironic, but why not? I mean, they came out right around the same time we came out with the shipyard thing with the people. So I'm happy about that. And we used to work with them quite regularly. I think Edwin Street was the president at the time. And it was not too many things that he had that I didn't know about. And unfortunately, I'm gonna put this one on me. I didn't let him know what we were doing because I get so carried away in the moment that I'm just interested in what we're doing right now. But I hope that Bracey and I will be able to get together and be
definitely
work together so that we can show the city and other Civic Leagues that working Civic Leagues do have the ears and the eyes of the city, and they are watching us.
Yeah, I like to say too. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Bracey.
I like to say too, we're a solutions league. We're not just a forum for people to come and complain about citations or complain about petty crime. We're solutions first. Come with the problem and come with your solution. Exactly. And this is how I feel like we've been able to really get the city behind us because they're hearing grassroots solutions from the people who are living here.
You stole my introduction letter, Bracey. That's what's in my letter. And tell you, if you got a problem, come with a solution.
Right.
But you know one thing, and also these partnerships also can lead to lasting solutions. And you're stronger when you come together as opposed to when you're operating separately. So I'm glad to hear that the Civic Leagues are coming together to work together to make a difference, not only in their community, but throughout the city of Portsmouth. So that's a great thing. Now, and one thing I also say, you said you clean up, so therefore the kids come and they clean up. what did I find? That if children see you do something consistently,
Mhm.
and they know that you're not going to let the neighborhood go down, they too will become a part of the solution to keeping the
Exactly.
neighborhoods clean. So I'm glad to see that you're engaging the young people as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and let me make a note that in 2018, Cradock community celebrated 100 years of their existence. And 2019, Historic Truxton did the same. And I also like to add that Wilson Ward covers Historic Truxton, but six other neighborhoods. And I'll let the president mention those neighborhoods. But I want to ask the two presidents, what, and I think all the civic leagues throughout the city are experiencing the same issues as far as, membership.
Mhm.
And what would you say to those people? I think you might have said it kind of, but to those people that really don't get interested, because once the civic league represents everybody, whether they are a member or not, but it certainly would help significantly if they were members, even if not in person, but paying members. Can you imagine that if everybody paid that, whatever the fees are or the dues are for each civic league, how much money you would have to work with,
Yeah.
and would cut down on all the fundraising, and energy could be put into all the other efforts. But what would you two say, excuse me, what would you two say to especially new residents? Because we're getting a lot of infill residents in our neighborhoods, and the affordable housing now is in the older neighborhoods. That's why we see a lot of people coming in to the older neighborhoods, especially first-time buyers. So what would you say to them to start kind of encourage them to join and be a part of the Civic League? I'll start with you.
Okay, what I do, we have new houses throughout the city, and in the North Truxton area, well, I'm gonna name them for you before I forget, James. It's North Truxton, Douglas Park, Maplewood Park, Glendale, Fairfield, and I forgot somebody.
Katie Heights.
Say it
Katie
again.
Heights.
Arcadia Heights.
And Acadia Heights. They are the 7 little neighborhoods that we cover. And when I get out here and go walking, or if I see somebody walking down the street, I just say, "Do you live out here?" They'll say, "Yeah." I got a couple of ladies. Matter of fact, I have to meet with them today. Just moved out here and they want to get involved. And they young folk, and that's what I love. They want to get involved with the Civic League because they want to know what it's all about. The Civic League, in my opinion, is the eyes of the police and the city. You can see better than they can. You can get around better. All you got to do is look out for one another. It's not going to ever be the way it was when we were growing up, James, but at least you got to get to see your neighbor instead of your neighbor pulling up, you raise your hand and say hi and keep on going. You don't know who it is down the street from you. So I try to engage my new neighbors and let them know what we're doing when they're out walking their dogs, when they're out playing with their kids. I introduce myself. I let them know about us. They give me their email address. If I can remember to give it to James, then I do, so they can join us. So, but I got to find other ways to make people want to come in. I had one young lady come in to my house since the pandemic, and she said, "Well, I got XYZ problem." I said, "Okay, exactly what is it that you want me to do?" "Well, I heard you the president of Civic League." I said, "Again, what is it that you want me to do?" And she went on to give me her problem. And I said, "Well, then what would you do if it was no Civic League?" And she said, "I don't know." I said, "And that's why I need you to join." So I let people know there's a whole lot that can be done with the help of the Civic League behind them. One voice don't make nothing move, but when you got multiple voices,
That's right.
a whole lot of things can get done.
You're right about that.
And I think Bracey knows that. From working out there at Cradock, I have been to several affairs out there. I've gotten older, Bracey. I don't get up 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't have a job. I don't have no reason to get up. So that's the way I look at it. But if somebody need me for whatever, and if it has something to benefit Wilson Ward Gosport Civic League, 9 times out of 10, I'm right there.
I definitely agree with everything Elvira said, and it's really good to get people to move in. And I think I'm one of those people who was looking for affordable housing, and people asked, "Well, why'd you move to Portsmouth?" And I said, number one was the affordable house. we could get the square footage that we wanted at a decent price. We love the neighborhood, love the charm, the potential here, and we moved in. And we've been using over here in Cradock the Next Door app. If y'all haven't seen that, it's like a Facebook basically, but for your neighborhood. And through that, we really we last year I think we had around 40 members that we topped out at, and this year we're already at 52. And I think it's a balance of, yeah, we're trying to get to 100 this year, sort of a 100 years, 100 members, because like Elvira said, when you have a chorus of voices asking for something, proposing solutions, being engaged with the community, the city has to listen. When you only have a couple voices, and it's voices who have maybe been there for forever, and it doesn't seem to represent the neighborhood so much, I understand city officials kind of discount it. So getting newer homeowners involved, the newer generation, and especially the kids too. I really like what Elvira said about engaging the youth, because you never want a generation of the Civic League to sort of cycle out and there be no connection to the younger generation. So yeah, the membership is key.
This is a question for both of you. So when somebody moves to your neighborhood and they want to join they're civically minded or community minded, how much are the dues to join the Civic Leagues in both of you?
Well, with Wilson Ward, we just had an increase of our dues from $10 a year to $20 a year.
Right. Not even a sandwich, a lunch.
Yeah, just $20 a year. And like James spoke earlier, if you just do that, all the fundraising that we do, we wouldn't have to do as much of, simply because when I go out here and count around here in the North Truxton area, it's very few empty houses. There's a lot of young folk moving in, and just trying to get them to just engage one time. Now, if I have a cookout or if I'm giving away something, I am bombarded. But when I ask them to come to the meeting and find out what's going on, the only time I get overwhelmed that I notice is when there's a serious issue in that neighborhood, and then they want me to fix it. And I can't fix it without them. I need them to help me fix it. So if you come to me with a problem, the first thing I'm gonna ask you is, what would you suggest? How would you fix it? Because I'm only one voice. But if you join the Civic League, and a good example, when I did come into the Civic League, we had a young lady that had a problem with her neighbors with a basketball court in the street, and she was worried about her car. And James and I were talking one day, and she came and told me about the problem. And I said, okay, are you a member of the Civic League? She said, no. I said, well, then I tell you what, if you join the Civic, if I get this fixed for you and get that basketball court removed for you, will you join the Civic League? She said, yes. She's been our treasurer ever since.
Oh, wow.
I'm just saying. So you got to work together. If she had a problem, she came to the meeting, and it was time, as Bracey just said, it was time for the older folks to shift out and for us to come in. Well, now it's time for somebody to come in behind me and take over.
Elvira, you're going to be there. Listen.
Oh, please don't say that.
Let me say, Roderick Hawthorne has written on Facebook that he would love to start the movement of opening community gardens and have Portsmouth lead the way in this. Now, we know Cradock already has a community garden. Elvira, what are the chances of the Truxton community getting that community garden going as well?
And that's funny that you asked me that. I was approached by a young man just last year, and he asked me that I know of any place out here that was vacant where they can do a community garden. And me with my little nose itself decided to ride the neighborhood. And I found some property. I just need to get in touch with the city and this young man to find out who's going to spearhead it, who's going to take care of it. One thing I got to find out also, not only the city is involved in this, I have to find out from the state level, because when they put in the Martin Luther King extension, they took out 2 houses out of here for no reason that I can see. But in so doing, that left those lots empty. And that would be the ideal spot for us to do a garden. But I need someone that's spearheaded, put me in what direction I need to go with the state and the city to obtain that land. I know what route I did to get this little lot up here where we got our little meditation park at, but I don't know which way to go. So I'm speaking with the city engineer now, trying to get that taken care of, and then I can move on to another project. But that's what we would like to do.
It's a shame Miss Shoemaker is not alive still, because she had the best garden, the most beautiful garden. When you would drive into Truxton, that's all you would see was her beautiful garden when you would drive in. So,
but that's true. That's true. And I was speaking with Pat, and I don't know how much of that land belongs to the city, which will also be another ideal spot, simply because it has direct sun all day long.
Let me just say one other thing. Roger Hawthorne just wrote, and this is what Bracey had alluded to, it's probably Jimi Hendrix. We went to Norcom together, again, Norcom High School, go Greyhounds, and would love to spearhead, and they would love to work as partners with you. So you got names right here on Facebook Live who are willing to come out to help you to start that community garden.
Okay.
Okay.
That'll work. I appreciate that.
Leah, I don't think Bracey got a chance to give the dues for the Cradock.
Yeah. So we do under 65 is $1 a month, so $12. But we prorate it. So if you were to join now, it would be $7 or $8. And then for 65 and older, it's 50 cents a month or $6 for the year. We have played with the idea of raising it, but we kind of like the symbolic $1 a month. You know, it's $1 a month, but what you get out of it and what the community gets out of it is 10 times multiplier.
Wow,
that's interesting.
So once again, it's $1 a month under the age of
65,
and then 65 and older, 50 cents a month.
50 cents a month. So
wow. And so that's and that keeps the money flowing continuously. So
yeah, and with our events too, we pay for our events with the events. You know, when we do our Spring Fest or 4th of July, the vendor fees, different fees that we get, we're able to sort of pay for those events themselves. And then the money that we spend is generally on beautification projects or things relating to lobbying the city for certain items.
Good idea. Good job.
I like that.
I like to mention that program is also about the importance of joining civic leagues throughout the city. And a lot of people know about a lot of the different civic leagues. Of course, the two we have here, and then you have Cavalier Manor, you have West Park View, you have Brighton, you have civic leagues out in Churchland, Ebony Heights, and Churchland Civic League. And if you're not sure about the civic league in your neighborhood, you can go to the Portsmouth website, and they have a list of all the civic leagues and who the presidents are, and it's updated because I checked it the other day because I thought they might have me still there as president, but everything is updated. And so if you want to find out what or who your civic league is in your neighborhood, just go to the website and pull up community, and you'll see a list of all the civic leagues there. And I think it's about, well, I don't want to say a number right now, but it's quite a few. And, we just need to be aware of the civic leagues and join, because it's just the stronger the neighborhoods, the stronger the city. And everything depends on the neighborhoods and the communities within the city. And the only way the communities can be strong is through strong civic leagues and civic organizations. So I just wanted to throw that point in there for the people that are listening, that not familiar with what that civic league is and how it operates.
That'll work. I know with Wilson Ward, we just implemented, I guess about a couple of months back, after members get a certain age, we have a special membership card made for them, which makes them lifetime members, where they pay no dues at all, simply because they've been in there for a lifetime. They've been there from the beginning. If I'm wrong, correct me, James. But we got some members that's been there since before I was born. So I don't see no reason for them to pay dues at all. Even though they want to contribute or donate, that's on them. But as far as dues are concerned, no.
Merit numbers,
Good point. But Slim, you was talking about neighborhoods. I think that the stronger your civic league is, it means the stronger your neighborhood is. And if people look at it, I have a strong neighborhood. That means I got a safer and cleaner neighborhood. And for the young folks that are out there, they're looking at their property values. Clean, safe neighborhood, my property values are going to go up. So in their minds, is they need to look at it is that yes, my investment in my home is also going up. And so that's another emphasis of why not join and participate in the system. So that's good thing.
Yeah, how I look at it is like it's almost like the human body. We have our cells working together makes a tissue makes an organ makes a system. I mean, really, you can take that metaphor to the city. Everybody's individual person working together. You have to have that sort of, I guess, tapestry really to make life nice and make it vibrant and have a good community around you. You have to engage.
Yes. Hey, but I'm gonna make a quick 3 minutes to 7. I'll make a quick commercial break here for those who are out there on Electron land. We at Portsmouth Coffee Talk LLC are seeking donations and or sponsorships. And if you'd like to do something to help our communities, you can send it to P.O. Box 7664, Portsmouth, Virginia 23707. And if you'd like to send a response and just to tell us how we're doing or what you'd like to see more of, you can send it to our email address at portsmouthcoffeetalk@yahoo.com. Go ahead on.
Okay, thanks. Leah, I forgot in the excitement of
I know. I just thought about it.
We always honor a citizen of Portland, someone that's not normally recognized. And we have a citizen today we want to honor. So if it doesn't tongue tie your neck,
I know. I've been practicing. He knows I practice constantly, okay?
Yeah.
This morning, it gives me great privilege for the members of Portsmouth Coffee Talk to salute Mark Jadolji Yatrosky.
Yes.
Oh, I got it right.
You got it, and your tongue is not twisted.
And my tongue is not twisted. Okay, Mark was born in Los Angeles, California. He grew up mostly in semi-rural New Jersey and went to finishing school at Miami Beach High School. He also attended the University of California in Berkeley. He spent 4 years in the U.S. Navy, which is how he arrived to Hampton Roads. He got his discharge in 1972. He settled in Norfolk for 24 years. And then he got smart and he came to the great city of Portsmouth, where he hopes to spend the remainder of his life. He became interested in political affairs when John F. Kennedy was running for and ultimately elected as president. As he entered his teen year, the civil rights movement made him realize that America was not living up to its claims of providing liberty and justice for all. Consequently, since high school, he has involved himself with concerns and organizations dedicated to improving the quality of life for those underserved by our economic, political, and social systems. Much of his civic energy these past 24 years has been focused on making our city government more transparent, more responsive, and accountable to the citizens of Portsmouth. Although he's not ready to declare mission accomplished yet, he has been pleased to see more civic groups and individual citizens taking a greater interest in achieving these goals. So on this morning, we would like to salute none other than my friend, Mark Jadolji Yatrosky. And I said it twice. Congratulations, Mark, and we applaud you for all the great work that you continue to do in the city of Portsmouth. Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you, Leah. And before, it's about 7, so I want to mention that we'll be leaving the radio airs, but we will continue on Facebook Live. I want to thank all the listeners on WGPL 1350 AM for listening, and be sure to stay tuned next Monday as we come on and we have as our guest Cletus Cassidy,
Woo, Cletus!
the ultimate Portsmouth comedian.
Horse was
anyway,
very on comedian.
so thank you. And I wanted to say this about Mark. The first time I met Mark, I was serving on the planning commission. And, you know, he comes to every council meeting and also every board, you know, meeting. So he came and he was talking about us, about making a decision we made, and I didn't like him because, you know, he was talking about us, about a decision. But as time went on, I got to know what his purpose was, and we have since then become great friends. And I appreciate you, Mark, out there keeping our city council accountable. I just wish sometime they would listen to some of the suggestions you make, because every time he goes before city council, he's well prepared. Even so, and I might say this, maybe more than some of the council members that are sitting up there. Yeah, I said it. But anyway, thank you. Appreciate you, and that's why we want to recognize you today. Okay.
And James, and one other thing, can I say about Mark?
Live with our guests. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
With my youth group, Sankofa, Mark was very supportive of Sankofa. He supported us in so many arenas when I had the kids out in the community. So I'm really grateful for all that Mark has done. And we saluted Mark, Sankofa did, at our 25th anniversary. So once again, Mark, we're just so thankful for Mark Butrowski.
I'm sure he has been supportive of most of the civic leagues in the city of Portsmouth as well, because his concerns have no boundaries as far in the city of Portsmouth. So he'll take on any fight in any community that he feels that needs to attend to. So thanks again, Mark. So back to our Civic League presidents. Thank you for hanging in there, and thank you for getting up. We'll continue our discussion with you. Let's talk a little bit about crime in our neighborhoods now. You see a lot of focus on, you know, especially in Cradock, you see these videos that people put out about actual shootout, and you see them all over the city, and even in Truxton. And when you talk about these older neighborhoods, you know, people with the weather breaking now, people like to come out and sit on their porches or in their yards. And some of that opportunity is being taken away from some people because of these incidents. So I think you all mentioned earlier how important it is for the civic leagues to be crime conscious and make sure that they report crime. So talk about that, the importance of that, because a lot of people don't want to report it. And if you report something, you could ask the police not to come to your house so people won't know. Now, if I report something, I want them to come to my house because I want people to know I'm talking. But some people don't want that, you know, because, you know, it could retaliation or something like that. But all you have to do is let them know, I want to report this, but don't come to my house, you know, to get the report. And if you make that request, it can happen. So both presidents, talk a little bit about the crime and how you see, what you see that's going on and what can be, you know, we talk about solutions. Where do we go, you know, as far as residents of these neighborhoods in tackling this crime? Because it's going to take a collective effort, you know, of everybody, the police, communities, everybody.
Well, I know.
Go ahead, Elvira.
Well, I know we do have some areas out here, quite a few that I guess about as soon as it get dark, you start hearing the gunshots or the fireworks. You can't tell the difference from them. But the biggest problem I see out here is these people know that the majority of the people in our area where they're having the concerns, as I call seasoned seniors. I'm a senior citizen myself. Thank you, Lord. But we got seasoned seniors. And the majority of these people, these ladies, I'm gonna just call it like it is, seasoned ladies living alone. And these young folk know it. They know it. We have one particular area out here that gives me great concern because we have a nursery daycare out here, and with those kids, them babies out there playing or whatever, and this seasoned senior is telling me that all her neighbors have moved simply because of the gunshots at night. She herself has not been able to sleep in her bedroom since October of last year, I believe. The bullet come right into her house. What do? We keep on calling the police. What can we do? We keep our porch lights on. We can become more visible. The police department is short-staffed. Everybody in Portsmouth know that they're short-staffed, and I keep trying to make everybody, we are the eyes for the police. we can report and keep reporting. They might not get there when you want them to, but they're going to get there eventually. And as James stated, I want them to come to my house. I want them to park in front of my house 24/7. If I could do that, I'd be happy. They can't do that because you got so much city. You got one police officer covering what is one particular area, one zone, and that zone can be Wilson Ward, it can be Cradock, it can be Capitol Manor, Mount Herman, I think Prentice Park and Brighton, I believe. You got one police covering all of that. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to help them to help us. Calling your president of your civic league is not helping them, and it's getting on their nerves because I can't do the thing. I'm not equipped to the point that I can come out there with a gun and tell them you can't do this, and then we got a problem with that. So call your police station, call the 311, call the 911, but don't call 4750. I can't help you. It's just that simple. So civic league, I think they're seeing that we're working more together. It's not saying that it has stopped, but I have noticed that it's not as much. My problem I have is music, 11, 12 o'clock at night. Now, it's summertime. It's summertime, so I got to listen to that. But the good news is I'd rather hear the music than to hear the gunshots.
Amen.
I think it's similar to what Elvira was saying a little bit earlier in the program, where it's generally kids. It's kids aged around 14 to 19 who may be shooting, who have firearms that they're discharging. And unfortunately in Cradock, we've got these gangs, the 30 gang, the 60 gang, the 90 gang, and they're kids. They're kids who have gotten their hands on these firearms, or they've been given to them by older adults, and they don't know how to use them. We had someone, a 19-year-old, get shot in the middle of Afton Square, in broad daylight, like around 1 p.m. or so, a month or so ago. Yeah, and it's scary. I mean, who wants to move into a neighborhood, even with the most affordable housing, where that's going on? Just a block down the road from me, we 19 Afton, it's a body house. I mean, it's a brothel. There's really no other way to describe it. And we've been asking the city now for almost 3 years to come and help and do something about it, bring a suit against the owners. But to James's question, as far as being a resource for the police, we are the eyes and ears on the ground. We know what's going on. We sit out on our front porches. We have Ring cameras. We've got footage, and that's been one of the things that we've tried to really impress upon the city, that these Ring cameras, these Arlo cameras, these different sort of personal recording devices have helped solve crimes. They capture just a couple of seconds, but if they can read a license plate of somebody speeding by and slow it down frame by frame, I mean, it's not like CSI. It's easy. You go and look it up on DMV and you already know somebody's involved. So I would say just being able to collect data and tell the police officers, we think this is going on. We think this is going on. That's been a huge help.
That's why I think it's so important for us, for everybody to be involved in the civic leagues, because you can't run away from crime if it's happening all over the city.
That's true.
You have to maintain where you are and make sure your village, that you're watching and reporting what you see. And if you see something and you report it and it's not what you think, I mean, you haven't lost anything. You just, making sure.
Well, I have to disagree a little bit there, because I think in what we've seen over the summer, there are unnecessary police interactions. There is a point where you might be, imposing on someone else's liberty in a way. And so we try to take that as a civic league and deal with it us first. In the Bible, it says if you have a problem with another Christian, you're supposed to go to them first, right? And address it. And then you go to the congregation. Then you take it up to the next level and you escalate it. So we also see the civic league as a way, kind of like Elvira gave the story of the basketball hoop in the street, and you went and dealt with that on a personal level. There's no need to get a citation officer out there. And so it's almost like it's another layer of community arbitration between ourselves, maybe before it necessarily needs to escalate to the authorities. But with gunshots, 100% agree. Always report it. Always.
Okay. Yeah, good point.
And
Good point.
also, James, I remember I got a call not only from you, but a number of people about a week ago. The Sheriff's Department Bike Patrol was just riding through the Truxton community just to show a presence. Just to show a presence and just to try to build relationships with the community as they ride through. And we don't have a lot, the Sheriff Department don't have a lot of members for the bike patrol, but they're definitely trying to make an effort just to be there, to build, try to build that relationship. It's important that not only the police department, the Sheriff Department build relationships with the citizens of Portsmouth and talk to the children, let the children get a different perspective. Law enforcement officers, and that's extremely important that they build those relationships. So I just had to throw a plug in for the Sheriff's Department.
Especially nowadays, like Bracey mentioned, all you see on TV is police, doing what they do.
Exactly.
So children coming up seeing that. So you have to create that relationship between them. And I agree with them saying they have to start in-house first, and him saying that, I'm gonna segue into this as far as the Civic Leagues being involved with their community schools. I think each community at least has a elementary school. And Elvira, I think you can talk to that, what our Civic League is doing as far as supporting our elementary schools.
Oh, well, we adopted Douglas Park Elementary School when I first took the seat as the president. And we have been very much engaged with Douglas Park, but in the process of adopting the school with back to school supplies and little fundraisers that we do, and we don't put everything on Facebook that we do because everybody don't have to know everything that you're doing. But some things that we do, we adopted the special needs class at Douglas Park Elementary, and they my babies, and yes, I'm very biased. I love my babies, and I go in there and we'll do we can't call it the Easter egg hunt, or we can't do this and we can't do that, but we do different things, Thanksgiving and Easter, and just cause. Now with the pandemic, I haven't been able to get into the school, but I like to go in there and just sit in there with them because those kids are amazing and I love them dearly. And they'll come up to me and we'll play and we'll talk, and then they'll tell me what I need to do and how I ought to do it. But when you engage yourself with these children, it's fun. Unfortunately, at Douglas Park, when James was with me that time, and we had the young man from the SWAT team with us from the police department, we went into a 6th grade class, was it, James? And the kids were not very receptive to the police, and that kind of bothered me a little bit. So I think when we had the mounted police out here and the bicycle riders out here, and the police actually got down and talked to the kids, they started to see a different thing. And they know that all policemen are not bad guys, and they found out. And just like I told them, I said, well, they got families too. They got to go home at some point. So why you can't be nice to them? Well, they're not nice to me. Well, then why is that? Check yourself first. I'm with Bracey. Check yourself, and then go forward. It's just that simple. And these young kids at Douglas Park, my babies at Douglas Park, they love the police. I can't speak for the 6th graders, but I know my babies do. So that's where I'm at. So I want to try to build a stronger relationship with the police department, the sheriff department, with our kids. The sheriff department, I'm gonna say this. I don't know of a time that I have needed or wanted the sheriff department to do something with me, for me, with the kids, with the community, that they said no. Never. They have always been there for us. They step in where I'm lacking, they pick it up, and I can't do nothing but just salute them, because I'm in love with the Portsmouth Sheriff Department. And I would love to meet the new interim police chief as well, and the city manager, because as a Civic League president, we need to know these people that's in place that can do for us, for our communities. when other communities see what Cradock and Truxton is doing, I hope they get jealous enough to do the same thing.
Exactly.
You know, get mad with us. Get so mad with us that you get out there and clean up their community and make the kids get out there too. I want an auxiliary of little people coming up behind me. Miss Elvira said, no, we got to pick up the trash. We can't have trash out here in our street. This is where we live. This is my goal, is to just clean up this city. Because when I ride this city and I see certain streets in this city and I look at the houses, I want to go knock on every door. Do you see that trash in front of your house? Pick it up. It's just, that's who I am. I'm out there cleaning up my little park. I call it my park. I'm out there cleaning up, man, ride through here and throw trash out. Me with my crazy stuff. And James gets on me all the time. I stop what I'm doing. I pick up the trash and I follow him home. And when he get home, I say, sir, you dropped something. He says trash. I said, well, you're home. Why you didn't take it with you? Stop dropping trash. You don't have to. You're going home. Don't make me act crazy. So that's where I'm at. I don't know how nobody else feel about it, but it's a peeve with me. So, and I got to go clean up this morning. So it's all good.
Bracey?
Mr. Bracey.
Yeah, I think there is, you know, a certain element of the positive side of keeping up with the Joneses. You know, when one Civic League sees another doing something, for instance, we've got the city manager coming to our Civic League meeting tomorrow. And, you know, I hope that all of the Civic Leagues extend an invitation to her to come and meet her, for her to come into the communities. I know she's only been here for a couple weeks. She's probably extremely overwhelmed. But hearing from the locals, hearing from what's going on, you know, I think that is important too. And there was a point I wanted to make about the police as well, but now it's sort of escaped me. Well, I'll think of it again. I know it's too early. It's too early. It's not too young. It's too early.
Well, just come back with it when it comes back to you. Yes. And I think it's important too, like you mentioned, the city managers coming to you. The earlier all our civic leads can get her out to the communities while she's fresh like this.
Yes.
And fill her head with what the community wants before everything gets politicized. I think it's important, because sometimes we can get wrapped up, you know, and things get politicized before you really know what the community wants. And of course, she has the answer to, and this is not putting the elected officials down, but, you know, this is a great opportunity for the communities to have communicate with the city manager, so she'll know in the back of her head what the communities want before she gets it from other places directly. That's just my little spiel. Go ahead, Colonel.
Yeah, you know what, Slim, you touched the point though. You know, everything is politics. And so you got to get to her early. And that's a good point, Bracey. Get to her early, because one, pretty soon we'll be back on the election season again.
Yes.
And our city council will be out there begging for your votes. And then when you put them up and say, what have you done for me lately? And they'll come out and give this standard, I'm going to do this. Well, what did you do when you were there?
Amen.
And then so you got to hold these folks accountable. And as a civic league, I can come out and say, I represent these many members, and of this 100 members, but I got 300 voters in my district or whatever, and you didn't do this. And so when you look for my endorsement, keep stepping. And so that's the piece I got to say. Yes.
So Bradley, I'm glad you got hold to the city manager. I guess that's why I couldn't get her. So, but being that you and I have the same meeting day and time, we're gonna always bump heads with something like that. Right. But James, if I may invite Bradley, we will be sending out a email anyway. But Bradley, Bracey, I don't know why I want to call you Bradley.
I just went to a wedding for my friend Bradley on Saturday, and everybody kept asking me if I was a groom. So it happens all the time.
But what we're doing right now, I'm in the midst of dedicating our little park out here, and I'm working hard on that, which is running me crazy. But I want to invite you, and we're gonna send letters out to the Civic Leagues, all the presidents anyway. I just need everybody to be mindful of the park, and that's why I asked you about that earlier, Leah, about the park, because we're going to dedicate our park in June on the 5th at 10:30 a.m. And I'm a time person. It will start at 10:30 and we will be done by 11:30. I can promise you that, because I tell you, quick, go home. It's hot. It's going to be hot. I hope to have some of our seasoned seniors out there. This senior is going to be there, and we're going to have some nice guest speakers, and then we're going to call it what it is, so that we can let everybody know that even though my emblem says, the emblem that we have, James, and I forget who brought it to my attention, it says Wilson Ward Civic League. We're going to leave that emblem the way it is, but the sign that we're going to put up is going to be Wilson Ward Gosport Civic League, and you can explain that if you want to, why we insist on keeping the Gosport in there.
Well, the Gosport is historic in nature as a part of the Civic League, because the Gosport part was a patrol part. The Civic League handled civic duties, and the Gosport part handled patrolling of the neighborhood and all the crime issues. And it was a combination of those two that made the Civic League so strong. And we wanted to honor the history of that by keeping that a part of the name. So going forward, you'll see that more as a part of the Wilson Ward Civic League, Wilson Ward / Gosport Civic League, to honor those before us.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's a lot of history with this Civic League, and I'm learning every day something new. So hopefully real soon. Bracey, my question is, are y'all still meeting virtually, or are you meeting in person?
So luckily tomorrow we're going to have a in-person space, but we are asking that most people would join virtually, especially guests and non-paid members, because we're going to be meeting at the VFW in Afton Square. Okay. And it's not a lot of space to be 6 feet apart. But yes, we will be back in person, but also on virtually. And I just remembered the point that I was trying to make earlier when we were talking about the police too. Because when you look at the news, at the national news, especially friends that live in other parts, especially, more northern states, they see everything going on. Our communities right here are at the front lines of the change and everything, almost like a microcosm of the history of the United States. You gave the history earlier where we were both segregated communities. You had white flight, you had the integration of schools, you had sort of, changes in the neighborhood happening. Now you have the police interactions. I mean, that's happening right now at our doorsteps, in our neighborhood, in Truxton, everywhere else. And it's so important for the Civic League to be there and be involved and engaged in a non-political way. We're not Democrats and Republicans at the Civic League. We're just neighbors. And it's changing one mind, I think, at a time, with saying, how can white people be? How can Black people be? How can we be together? And when you come to the Civic League, when you look at the Cradock Civic League, we look like our neighborhood. White, Black, Hispanic, Filipino. I mean, we're all here, younger, older, poorer, wealthier, and it's important. It's really just important to get together and remember our humanity. So, I'll get off my my soapbox now, but that's the point that I wanted to make earlier when you were bringing that up.
Well, Bracey, that is an excellent point. If we can get to that place that you're speaking of, we would be a better world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I appreciate that so very much.
We'll throw some shout outs to the Kevlar Manor Civic League, president, the Port Norfolk Civic League. Don't know who the president is, but they're very active. Parkview Civic League, West Parkview, Brighton, Prentice Park, Lee Ward Civic League, and Ebony Heights, Sharon Anderson. And I normally leave out people, but I just wanted to, shout those out for people and some other people. If you all can think of some other civic leagues we can shout out to make sure that they are recognized, but maybe as time goes on, we have other Civic League presidents on here to talk about, because basically a lot of our communities have some of the same issues. And, you know, I guess one time we tried this before to have at least every 6 months meeting of all the Civic League presidents to discuss their issues. And sometimes that's kind of hard to do because, you know, presidents have a hard time giving up that, well, anyway, that presidency just for that moment. So you have to leave those egos at the door and come together. So hopefully we can come back like that and do something again every 6 months where all the Civic League presidents get together and discuss certain issues. Because there are certain issues, if you went down before our city administration or elected officials in that kind of numbers, you know you're going to get what you want to do accomplished, because a lot of times they look out there and see votes. And I'm not going to say it's always about votes, it's about the concern of the citizens, but collectively, a lot of things can be done. And, you know, hopefully we can get back to that. And hopefully our two presidents here can maybe spearhead.
Exactly. You know,
Not putting pressure on you, but, you know, it has to start somewhere.
and as you speak of that, you know, back in the day, they used to have the Central Civic Forum,
Yes.
which was comprised of various civics throughout the city. And they used to come together and meet monthly to discuss issues. And it was Helen Davis and Big Boy Turner and Lucy Overton, all of the old heads there, but they all came together once a month just to come together to discuss information about the various civic leagues coming together. And we can, Helen Davis would be a good person for us to get on here one day to talk about the Central Civic Forum that existed back a few years ago.
Wow.
Hopefully that can happen.
What was that?
No, I was saying hopefully that can happen.
Yes.
Well, I know, excuse me, Shea Terrace is a real strong civic league. They're very active out there. You also have one out in Swanson Home, but I don't know if they're still meeting right about right now. And you got certain groups or some groups of people coming together now that's trying to get some things done in the city of Portsmouth, leaving prayerfully the politics out of it.
Right.
And get some things done. It has nothing to do with your position. It's not who you are, it's what you can do. What can you bring to the table? And I think that's what this group of people is looking to do. As one of y'all said, check your ego at the door. Yes. And let's get together and work together. So that way we can do something and show people when they put national news on and they show Portsmouth, they'll see it in a better light.
Exactly.
You know, because if for us to make news national for all the bad things that we do, it's a dream of mine to see us make news for all the good that we can do. Exactly. And we are doing. And I know one day that's going to happen. Hopefully before the good Lord call me home.
And it can start with you and Bracey. You
yeah, I love you too, Leah.
You can be the catalyst to pull all of that together. And Elvira, I know you've had a lot on your shoulder for a long time. I know Mr. Bracey is a young man, but what better way to start? It's someone who's been out there for a long period of time and a young person who's just come into the city, plenty of energy. Both of you have plenty of energy. Now is the time. If not you, who? If not when?
Right.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, Bracey, we've been told that what
told.
We've been told.
Been told by the old.
Well, we'll get up, Elvira. We'll talk.
And I'm willing to help. Okay.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
That's
I'm
wonderful.
willing to help.
All right. Hold you to it.
Okay.
Well, Bracey, we can meet on any day but the first Tuesday of the month. Okay.
Exactly.
You know, it's been said over the years how Portsmouth is a diamond in the rough, and I'm tired of waiting for us to shine.
Diamond.
We really need to make some efforts towards us shining like we are a diamond in the rough, a pure diamond. Yeah. And it's going to take the efforts of all of us, all the civic leagues, and that's why we want to do this show, to make sure that people know the importance of civic leagues. It's some people that move in the neighborhoods just not aware of the civic leagues.
Yeah, they're right.
There was no civic league, or they didn't have time to be civically involved. And a lot of people don't get involved until it happens in their back or front yard. But like we said earlier, just be aware of your civic league and support them financially if you can't be there physically. Because just know they're going to be there working on behalf of all the citizens, all the residents that are represented by their civic league. So
Jackson, the good news is we can't do like Mr. White used to do back in the day when he was selling the Jet and the General Guide newspaper, coming knocking on your door. And your dues is $3. You paying now or what? We can't do that now for fear of your life. So we're just gonna ask everybody, just think about coming. And I tell anybody, you don't even have to come to all of the meetings. Just come and be a part of the meeting from time to time so you can know what we're doing, where we're going, and where we're trying to go. And all that means is let's come together and be a united front to the city so everybody can see how we work it out. That's all I want. That's my dream.
I no longer live in the Truxton community, but I'm going to pay my dues because Truxton made me who I am today. So I will definitely pay my dues and become a member.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. Just be an active member. I mean, just that once a year thing or whatever. I've even had people ask, can we pay such and such a month? You can pay whatever you want. We're going to take it because it goes towards our scholarships. Or somebody or doing something like that. We don't keep the money. The money goes back out. We don't have the Cradock, they got that little venue. I love it. I'm jealous of it. Yes, I am. And I say it out loud. They got that little square. Honey, if we had that square, we had something out there every month. Every month. Trust me.
Yeah, that square is really nice.
I love it. I love it. So Bracey, if I come over there, look, if I come over there, you're gonna have to share, okay?
Of course. We were thinking about doing a joint event, and I think it would. Yes. I think James and I discussed this a little bit earlier in the year, maybe during the heart of COVID, about getting together to do a Juneteenth or a joint July 4th celebration. I think, just for historical reconciliation and showing that we are together, we are neighbors, we are neighborly. So let's talk, Elvira.
Love that, Bracey, and please include me in your discussions. I love that idea.
Absolutely.
I will give you personal information, and we'll set up a date that's good for both of us.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Well, we coming to the end of our program, and we want to thank you both for getting up early and having your coffee first for this coffee talk program.
Pour your cups, please.
And Sharon.
We're gonna have to look out for you, Bracey. We're gonna have to look out for you.
I slammed the coffee and then I went to water.
Good job.
But anyway, we appreciate you coming down and talking about the importance of civic leagues and letting us know about your particular civic leagues. And before we go, if you have one more statement you'd like to make, I'll let you do that this time. We'll start with you, Bracey.
Sure. So Mother Teresa, when she was over working in India, a lot of people asked her, how can I help? I want to come over there and help you. I want to take a vow of poverty, of chastity, whatever it is. And I want to come join, your order. You're doing such wonderful things. And she said, don't come over here. She said, I want you to be concerned about your next door neighbor. Do you know your next door neighbor? Mm-hmm. I think in this day and age of social media, of seeing what other people are doing all the time, we get this overinflated ego and think that we can come out and do something major and change the way things are. But really it starts at home, and it starts with knowing your next door neighbor. So meet your next door neighbor and come to the Cradock Civic League and be part of your community. Thank y'all for having me today.
Thank you, Bracey.
Thank you, Bracey.
Oh, that's awesome. Just to piggyback after him, your Civic League work when you work. In order to make it work, you got to work. So please join your Civic League, regardless of where you are in the city of Portsmouth, Norfolk, Hampton, join. It makes it better for the city. It makes it better for you. And let's know our neighbors by their name versus a wave in the hands. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me. That's all I'm gonna say at this time, because James know I can go on and on. So I'm gonna stop right now because I'm ready to get started.
Yes, and thanks again, both of you, and thanks all those who are watching. And again, remember to tune in next week as we have yes, it will be Cletus Cassidy, the local comedian, and I'm sure he will have us laughing. But he is very opinionated about sports and politics as well, so you don't want to miss that. So tune in then, and always remember, Portsmouth Talk Coffee Talk is here with our voice,
Our community.
And our future.
and we appreciate you. God bless you. Take care and have a great day.
Coming. Thank you.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
God
God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.